Hi, my name is Sky Johnson, and for my presentation I chose Dunkirk. So a little bit of background, the Battle of Dunkirk was a failed attempt by British forces to stop German troops from infiltrating France, and so they decided to retreat at the beaches of Dunkirk, and they waited for actually civilian ships that were commissioned by the British Navy to go across the channel and bring them home. And while they're waiting on the beaches, Germany sent in bombers just to kind of pick them off like fish in a barrel while they're waiting on the beach. And so the film kind of follows three stories. One is just a regular soldier who's waiting to be picked up on the beach. Another one is a father and son civilians who take their own boat over and are going to go rescue the soldiers. And then another one is a British Air Force pilot who is shooting down the German bombers. So there's tons of ethical dilemmas throughout this whole film. One is like disobeying orders. The civilian, the father and son, they're supposed to let a British Navy captain take their boat, but they decide, no, we're just going to take it on our own, so they disobey him. And then soldiers are doing whatever it takes to survive throughout the film. And then there's issues of sacrifice, like the British pilot, he only has enough gas left in his plane to fly back to Britain, and so he starts flying back, but then he sees another bomber come, and he decides to, sacrifice himself and turn around and shoot it down, and then he has to crash land and is picked up by the Germans. But for this presentation, I kind of chose the issue of nationality. So there was a huge deal between the French and British, which we don't really think about, but it was kind of the British viewed their nationalism as more important than humanity, and that was kind of the ethical issue, as we can see in this next clip of how they denied French from getting on their boats.
No French. English only. English only. You've got your own ships. This is a British ship. Get the stretchers through. There's stretchers coming. Get out of the way. That's 2 minutes. You've missed it. Missed it.
So as you can see in that clip, the French were waiting to get on the boat. They were denied, but it's not like, the British were just strict to the rules. Like as you can see, the guys with the stretcher, they missed the whistle, but he still let them get on the ship just because they're British. So there's a really big deal of kind of an egotistical view that the British had against the French. Yes, they were going to help them fight the war, but when it comes down to survival, we're just going to protect our own people. So they viewed their nationalism as more important than humanity as a whole, which is definitely against utilitarian views. It was not for the greater good. And this nationalism is throughout the whole film. Here's a great example of that, one of the scenes.
This one. He's a German spy. Don't be daft. Have you noticed he hasn't said a word?
You're daft. Tell him.
Yeah. Tell me, Gibson. Tell me! Tell him, for God's sake. Austin. This was once a frog. A bloody frog. A cowardly little keel-jumping frog. He was just looking for a way off the sand like the rest of us.
So in that clip, kind of really sums up how the British thought about the French. It was really interesting. So out of context, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. But basically, the boat is sinking, so they need to have someone jump off overboard in order for it to stay afloat. And so this guy who's French, he doesn't talk because he can't speak English, so they think he's a German spy. And then once he says he's French, the guy with the gun, he doesn't care. There's no distinction between French and German for him. All that matters to him is he's not British, and he's not a part of his nation. So he still needs to jump off the boat. But then, as you can see, the other main character, or the other character, he says no, he's just like the rest of us. He was just trying to find a way to get off, and get home, get safe. And this is kind of where the two ideas kind of clash against each other. One is this humanitarian view, and then the other is this nationalist view. And throughout the film, it kind of progresses, and in the final little scene here, we can see where the utilitarian view finally kind of brings itself out.
Come on, Private! I know we're officers, but it's us or the enemy.
So far, I'm staying for the French.
So in that clip, we can see it was the dock where they first denied access to the French, actually. And it's the last British officer, and it's his turn to finally go home. He's the last one left, and he says, no, I'm going to stay and help the French kind of coordinate ways so they can get home. So this is a totally different view from the beginning. It's a definitely far more utilitarian view, viewing humanity as a whole as important. But at the same time, it's interesting if you'll notice that there's no one left on the dock. The British are all gone. And so it's once all the British are safe that he finally lets the French find their own boats or come onto the ship. So this prejudice is still there, but it's definitely kind of a statement of how this ethical issue was resolved. Through it kind of progressed through egotism at first, and then kind of as a whole, the British troops, as times got more dire, they started accepting the French and said, okay, yeah, let's just all survive here, which was pretty cool to see. And then I'm sorry for the kind of the blurry film. I did my best, but yeah, these are my sources, and yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.